and welcome to volume video number 2. In this video, you're going to probably hear a herd of elephants over there because the dogs are wrestling like crazy. So we'll see how that goes. I may be pausing to scream my face off at them. Not really, I don't really scream my face off at them. Want to say hi? Yeah, never mind. That wasn't very interesting. They just were standing there, of course, because they speak English. And they said, well, my mom said this, so I'm not going to do it. Okay, anywho, let's get to it. Volume, lesson 2. Today, you are going to extend the volume formula for a right rectangular prism to the formula V equals area of the base times height. So before it was length times width times height. Now we're going to show you area or volume to be area of the base times height. And I'm going to show you the connection between those two formulas. You're going to understand that any face can be the base. Okay, so first example, that's Gunner. That little puppy dog right here, this guy, Gunner. He looks cute and innocent. He's not cute and innocent. He's cute. He's not innocent. Okay, the base of a rectangular prism has an area of 3 1/4 inches squared. The height of the prism is 2.5 inches. Determine the volume of the rectangular prism. So we have been given length, width, and height to determine volume so far. This problem wants us to determine the volume, but it's only giving us 2 numbers. However, I want you to put something together. Remember, if you have a rectangle, pretend it's a rectangle, the area equals the length times the width, right? That would get me the area of this entire shape, just saying length times width. Now, let's think about a 3-dimensional figure. If you remember in the video from the other day, a rectangular prism is really just a rectangle that is extended over the 3rd dimension. So it becomes the shape of like what we've been talking about, a butter stick. I don't know, that's my favorite example, but it just reminds me of a butter stick. And now you're going to see butter sticks and you're just going to think rectangular prism. So what we do is we just extend that so it's 3-dimensional rather than a flat plane. So if I drew my rectangular prism, so I just added a rectangle. I've got my other rectangle and I form it into a prism. But that background rectangle is still there. So to find the area of that, I'm still calculating the length times the width. And remember, volume is length times width times the height. So it's kind of like it already has area of a rectangle in it, length times width. That is what we call the area of the base. It's the same thing as the length times the width part of the volume formula. But instead of multiplying length times width times height, the length and the width have already been multiplied for you. Yay, that's one less step we have to do. So, to answer this question right here, do we need to know the length and the width to find the volume? We do, but it can already be multiplied together for you. So I'm going to clear this screen and we're going to put this together. So volume can equal length times width times height. Another way to say that is by combining our length and our width already to find the area of the base. And we indicate that with a capital B. So the area of the base is really length times width times height. These two formulas are the same thing. We kind of sometimes hope that we get this one because that means the length and the width have already been multiplied for us. So in this case, it has happened. We already have the length and the width multiplied. And now I just need to multiply it times the height. So B, and I want you to make sure you write this down, equals area of the base times height. which is 3 1/4. That's the base area, times the height, which is, 2 1/2. Now, of course, as normal, we are not going to multiply these like this. Change it to what? What? Improper fraction. Okay. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. I'm going to go up here. Keep my denominator the same. Put your multiplication sign back. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, over 2. Multiply through. 13 times 5. 5 times 3 is 15. Carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6, over 8. You must change it back to a mixed fraction, but this is one I like because I know my math facts, and 8 times 8 is 64, which gets me awfully close to 65. So I know I can take 8 whole groups out, and then I will have 1 left over, and my denominator always stays the same. So now, okay, I got this number. What does this represent? Well, we knew earlier that I had the base and the height, the area of that, or the base, the length and the width, and then I multiplied it times the height. So I was looking for volume, and now I can say the volume is 8 1/8. We're looking at inches. And yes, it's still cubed. Even though you didn't multiply 3 things were multiplied because the length and the width were done for you. Then you multiplied in the height. So it's still cubed. That is the volume. Okay, one more together. So draw a sketch of the figure, then calculate the volume. Rectangular prism, picture that in your head. Off to the side, draw a rectangle, and then you kind of corner another rectangle on it and connect all 4 corners. So there's my sketch. And now I'm going to calculate the volume. Now this time I don't have the length and the width and the height. I only have the area of the base, which we said is the length times the width. Yay, done for us. But again, since volume is the area of the base times the height, we're going to take this number 4 3/8. And here is our height times 2 1/2. Okay, make sure you write that. Remember, at any point, if you need to pause, you may do so. All right, let's convert. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 3, 35. Over 8, multiplied by 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, over 2. Multiply straight across. 5 times 5, 35. Carry that 3. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18. Over, 8 times 2 is 16. You hear the dogs trampling through again? It's Gunner's fault. It's him. Okay, now I'm going to convert that back. I'll do that over here. 185 divided by 16. Goes in once. Bring down that 5. Still only goes in once because I know 16 times 2 is 32. That's too much. 16, subtract, we have 9 left. So my volume, I have 11 as my whole number, 9 as my numerator, and the denominator always stays the same. So 11 9/16. Now volume is to the 3rd power. We're working with feet squared. And yes, I only multiplied 2 things, but remember, the length and the width was already done for you. Make sure you have all of this copied down before you move on. Pause if you... Okay, here's where you're going to have a little bit of choice. In just a second, I'm going to ask you to pause the video. If you feel comfortable solving the volume of each one of these problems like we did yesterday, And also, like we did today, I want you to go ahead and try this one on your own. If not, I want you to move on to the next example and do it as well. So you've got 2 to possibly practice. This one you can pause and do on your own or listen to my solution. And the next one, same thing. You decide where you feel like you're at before you go to your mastery check. Okay, so this one says write 2 different expressions to represent the volume and explain what each one means or represents. So you do not actually have to solve this. This is me seeing if you know what the 2 expressions mean. So pause the video, see if you can write 2 expressions, then come back to see if you're correct. Did you pause? Hope so. All right, so volume, length times width times height. So I know that this is the length, 4 2/3, times the width, which is 1/3, times the height, which is 1 1/8. This is one expression to represent volume, length times width times height. I know that my other equation, so this is the other option, volume equals the area of the base times the height. So I know that this could be one of the bases, which is also right below it. So the area of that base would be 4 2/3 times 1/3. I would get that answer. Whatever I get for that, I would multiply it times 1 1/8. So those are 2 possible expressions that you could have to find the volume of this rectangular prism. If you felt comfortable with that last one, here is the should do. Now, if you were completely understanding the area of the base times the height, you can skip this and come see me for your mastery check. I'll give you the mastery check to try. If you get it incorrect, I will have you come back to this. If you feel like you're not ready for the mastery check, then I want you to go ahead and do this problem on your own. Try it. So you're going to pause, then come back and look at the solution. If you got it right, you're good to go for the mastery check. If you got it wrong, I'd like you to come see me so that I can give you extra support. Okay, so your choice right now. Stop, come get mastery check, or complete this activity on your own. Ready? Go. All right, so volume equals area of the base times the height. I've already been given this information. The area of the base, which this is the base, could be any one of these surfaces. This is the base that they're choosing, is 4/3, which means the length and the width of this equaled 4/3. And now I'm going to multiply it times the height, which is 3/10. Yay. No improper or no mixed fractions to change to improper. I can go ahead and multiply straight through. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 3 times 10 is 30. It does not say to simplify, but you could simplify that by dividing by 2. It is your call. You could simplify it as much as you'd like because each one would divide by 3 as well. I'm not requiring that. So if you leave it as 12/30ths, I'm okay. The measurement that we're looking at is feet. Do you hear Gunner? And we have to the 3rd power. Remember, this was already the length times the width for you, and the 3/10 we multiplied in. So that's why it's to the 3rd power. How did you do? If you tried it on your own, did you get the whole thing good? That means you're ready to come see me for the mastery check. If you still are having concerns, come see me We'll do a couple extra support problems together.